Hi guys, I'd like to begin today's video by thanking the sponsors of it, namely the two gentlemen who are currently cutting the grass in the middle of the roundabout beneath my flat. But moving on to the subject of today's video, I'm going to address whether or not football commentators and English language commentators in particular take themselves or ourselves too seriously.
Do you know the question as you're asking to me?
Conventional wisdom says that we should simply blend into the background, that we shouldn't necessarily distract the viewer's attention. What we're seeing on the screen, the footballers are the stars of the show, and we should simply be there in a supporting role. We are not the centre of attention. But sometimes I just think it's good to have a bit of fun, to embrace our creativity. It's football, it's entertainment, and ultimately it's not life or death. Which is why I've come up with a few examples of commentators, both English and otherwise, embracing their creativity that I'd like to talk you through today. We're going to start with João Ricardo Pateiro, who's a Portuguese commentator very famous for the little jingles that he comes up with for players in the Portuguese league, in particular when they score goals or when they do something particularly memorable. So I got very excited when I found a compilation on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description to some of his best jingles for players. And I've picked out one in particular, current Wolves man, João Moutinho, who used to play for Porto. And I got really excited when I heard this because I was conjuring up images of André Villas-Boas as a sort of Geppetto character there, working away in his workshop, crafting this wonderful puppet, João Moutinho in the style of Pinocchio. There he is. And then João Moutinho in turn pulling the strings in the Porto midfield. I got very excited at this interpretation of the following.
Foi na loja do mestre André que explodiu João Moutinho, fantástico João Moutinho. Ai olé, foi na loja do mestre André. João Moutinho, Futebol Clube do Porto.
That was until my good friend Nuno, after I'd done a bit of fact-checking, actually just told me that he'd ripped off the jingle, the theme tune, from a popular Portuguese child's cartoon. Nonetheless, good song. And what I would say as well is there's not enough yodeling in football commentary. So there you have it, João Ricardo Pateiro doing some wonderful work there. So we've had him. Let's keep it going with a bit more song, this time a French broadcaster, Jeannot Rességuier, who decided to channel the Gypsy Kings when Ousmane Dembélé scored a particular goal.
Amor de compra y venta, amor del pasado.
Dembélé, 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 Dembélé.
Bamboleo, bamboleo.
So we've had some yodeling, we've had a bit of Latin music, which is terrific. Now, before we move on to a couple of English-speaking commentators, I wanted to now just explain why I'm such an oddball, in the sense that when I used to play Championship Manager as a kid, I would even come up with my own stadium chants for some of my players and some of the storylines. I would buy this Australian called Shane Cansdale-Sheriff from Leeds United to play in the defensive midfield role, the crucial cog in the 4-1-3-2 system. Now, I know what you're thinking. No one wants to hear about your Championship Manager stories. To paraphrase my cousin, no one likes hearing other people's golf stories. It's similar with Championship Manager, I would suggest, but this is my channel and I'm going to do what I want. So 4-1-3-2, Shane Cansdale-Sheriff could occasionally drop in at left back, do a job there, but typically he was the man in front of that back four, making sure that everything kept ticking over, breaking up play. And I used to sign him very easily. Unfortunately, anytime I tried to sign Basque pairing of De Paula and De Pedro, I would never be able to secure their signature, presumably because Real Sociedad had this rule about you could only play Basque or foreign players. So that sort of inspired me to come up with the following stadium chant. I signed Cansdale Sheriff, but I couldn't buy the deputies. No, no. Yeah, the deputies was the sort of umbrella term that a mate and I coined for De Paula and De Pedro. See what we did there. So that was one stadium chant. Another one was when I discovered that Johnny Heitinger curiously had finishing 20, heading 20, jumping 20. He had all the component parts of a great Championship Manager striker. So much so that I decided to give him specialist individual training to convert him into a centre forward. So I channeled J-Lo, started shaking my booty, and came up with the following. Don't be fooled by the skills that he's got. He's still Johnny from the back. Used to defend, now he attacks. He still knows where he came from. Ajax. Yeah, so there you see, it's not just Pateiro and it's not just Jano Reseguet that come up with these inventive ways of singing. This wasn't necessarily commentary, it was stadium chants for a fictional computer game. Quite ironic, really, given that Johnny Heitinger eventually, when I discovered what he was like in real life, agricultural defender, fairly dirty, lest we forget the 2010 World Cup final or his stint at Everton. But when you see these players on Championship Manager, I had him in my mind's eye as some sort of very graceful, skillful defender that could easily do a job both at centre-back, ball-playing centre-back, but would also develop into this wonderful striker. So just an aside to show you that I have thought about this in the past. I've not yet dared come up with something like that live on the mic when someone's paying me to commentate on a match, which is probably a good thing, else my career would be slightly short-lived. So we've seen the yodeling, we've seen the Latin music, you've heard my curious teenage stadium chants. Bizarre, I know. And now I want to talk about Ray Hudson, Mr. Stream of Consciousness, the way the words just flow. See what I did there? Awful, awful, awful pun on the Hudson River. If you have to explain the joke, it's never a good one. Here's a couple of the greatest hits from Ray Hudson. Why I put?
As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend. One touch, he pops it up intentionally, arguably putting it on a golf tee like Tiger Woods, and then he gets his big driver out. An absolutely big as this one home.
And what better way to finish this bizarre take on football commentary, on creativity, on slightly unorthodox approaches than taking one which is probably striking just about the right balance. And this is Peter Drury, his infamous goal call when Costas Manolas completed the dramatic turnaround for Roma against Barcelona. Everything in there, history, cultural references, imagery, you've got the lot, talking to the pictures.
And they're Roma have risen from their ruins. Manolas, the Greek god in Rome. The unthinkable unfolds before our eyes. This was not meant to happen. This could not happen. This is happening. Barcelona, extraordinarily, 8 minutes from elimination. And Di Francesco does not know where to go. Iniesta does not know where to look. It is a Greek from Mount Olympus who has come to the 7 hills of Rome and pulled off a miracle.
Peter Drury at his very best. It's little wonder then that people call him the GOAT. That's all for this very strange video, guys. Give it a thumbs up. You know what to do. Subscribe if you haven't done already. Comment. Are there any other commentators you like that do slightly wacky and crazy things? Should we be a bit more creative? Obviously, a lot of this video was tongue-in-cheek, but how much scope is there for imagination and creativity? Or do you just want the commentator to give you the names and shut up? I'll see you on the next one. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers.